Hey guys, how are you?
I am good,
I
bro.
am good, brother. What about you?
I observed something strange yesterday while purchasing vegetables. The vegetable vendor was having more than 3 types of potatoes, and according to him, all the 3 types of potatoes have different properties and unique taste. That was a totally new thing for me. Does anyone of you know how is this possible?
Yes, buddy. This is called genetic modification.
Now that's a new term for me. Can you explain what it is actually?
Genetic modification is a technique to change the characteristics of a plant, animal, or microorganism by transferring a piece of DNA from one organism to a different organism.
Yes. And also, this is carried out by the removal of desired genes from the DNA of one organism and adding them to the other. And you know what? This technique has, for example, being used to develop fungi and bacteria that produces medicines too.
Okay, now that sounds really interesting to me. But a question is clicking in my mind that why do we even need to carry out such a process? I mean, what is the purpose of genetic modification?
Okay, Sugam. In my point of view, genetic modification is carried out to add desired properties to living organisms, such as resistance to disease or a drought, that can also be achieved by crossing species with each other. But interbreeding also brings unwanted properties, which I think I would have taken decades to if we would have waited to get rid of those unwanted properties through interbreeding. What do you say, Atishay?
Yes, Govit, you are absolutely right. Sugam was able to see more than 3 varieties of potatoes being sold in the market because they are genetically modified so that each variety could get its own different properties from the other ones. For example, there are wild potato species that are resistant to diseases which consumer potatoes are unable to protect against. By crossing a wild potato species with a cultivated one, seedlings are produced with a gene package of which only half originates from the wild potato to make the plant material usable for food production again. Through interbreeding with the cultivated potato, about 30 years would be needed.
So that means using genetic modification, a new variant with exactly the right and desired properties can be developed in a short time as only the desired genes is transferred.
Yeah, bro, you are
Yes,
absolutely
Sugam,
right.
you are absolutely right.
But guys, anyhow, I feel that if this process is carried out extensively, then this may become a matter of concern as this may lead to permanent depletion of original species which Mother Nature has given us. Also, it may also be possible that transferring selected genes from one species to other is beneficial for one and harmful for other. Also, I had read online that toxins from crops have been detected in some people's blood because of consuming genetically modified crops. What does you people have to say about this?
No doubt, the risks of the genetic modification cannot be ignored. Just last week, while surfing through internet, I came to know that the pollen produced by the suck genetically engineered plants could be toxic and harm insects that can transfer it between the plants.
In that case, there also arises a possibility of insects dying because of these toxic substances, and that may lead to disturbances in different food chains of which those insects are a crucial part.
Not only this, I think if this practice is carried out with same pace, then this may soon permanently replace the conventional breeding methods.
No, Sugam, this is absolutely not the case. The use of crossbreeding will always be important to be able to guarantee a wide variety of the agriculture products. Genetic modifications, like all the other technologies, should be fitted in wide agroecological farming practice. You know what? Good agriculture practice is always the starting point. Genetic modification is just one of the pillars that can be used to optimize the food supply while keeping it sustainable.
In my point of view, that somehow depends upon the choice of the consumers also, whether they want to eat a genetically modified food item or the one which is naturally produced. And with the passage of time, I am pretty sure that the GM has already been applied.
Yes, brother, you are absolutely correct. In 2010 itself, genetically modified crops were grown on more than 140 million hectares worldwide.
That is an area almost as large as the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, France, Switzerland, and Italy together.
Exactly, and moreover, this cultivation takes place in both developed countries and as well as several major developing countries.
In addition, genetically modified crops in livestock feed are already widely used. 80% of the soya produces widely, and it is important raw material for animal feed, which is genetically modified.
Those poor animals simply feed upon what we humans give them to eat. But guys, how does we as consumers will get to know if our food contains genetically modified organisms in it?
Well, I have the answer to your query. If GMOs are used in food, that is indicated on the packaging, in milk, meat, and eggs produced from animals that have eaten genetically modified feed, there is no requirement to list this on the label. Also, there is continuous sampling at various points in the chain, from ports to farms, to trace GMOs and to detect where they originate from.
But how can we assure that GMOs are not mixed with non-GMOs?
To avoid mixing GMOs with non-GMOs, there are strict rules. For example, the minimum distance between fields with non-genetically modified crops and genetically modified crops. This is to prevent possible cross-fertilization.
Okay, so there must exist a lot of confusions in minds where they consume GMOs, like whether they are even safe to consume or not.
I recently watched an interview where a similar question was asked by a layman that who determines the use of GMOs is safe. And according to the reporter, companies that develop new variety through genetic modification must have those tested before they may be marketed. Testing is done in India by all 29 member states who send their reviews to the Indian Food Safety Authority, the scientific body that has the final judgment on the files.
That is true. Tests carried out to see how much the gene added to a plant is expressed. Furthermore, research is done to determine whether the proteins may be toxic or potentially lead to allergic reactions. There are also tests to determine whether the modification affects the nutritional value of the plant. Besides tests on food safety, environmental considerations are also included.
Alright, I never knew that the food I am eating might have to go through a number of tests before landing on my plate.
I think we all got to know a lot about what is genetic modification and what are its purposes.
Yes, even we got to know about disadvantages of genetic modification and differences between genetic modification and conventional breeding.
Exactly, today I got an answer about how do I come to know is my food is genetically modified and is it even safe to consume that food or not.
Yes, you are absolutely right, and I think that was too much to grab for the day. I hope such fruitful conversations will take place in future too. Okay friends, bye. Talk to you later.
Okay, then see you later boys.